A year and a half ago, HTC revealed the Vive Proton, a brand new compact standalone VR headset as a concept. And for the past 20 months or so, we've heard nothing else about it. That was until now. This is what the Proton turned into, the HTC Vive Flow. And I got a very special opportunity to get the Flow in my hands for the first time and try it out in all of its glory and share with you guys. And this is an interesting VR device. It's not trying to compete head-to-head with the Quest 2 or Index or Focus 3. It's a device all on its own, and after spending a few hours with the Flow, I have some big things to say about this little headset. So what is this thing? Why is this a thing? And who is this thing for? Let's start with what before I get into what I actually want to do with this device, because what I want to do is not what HTC intends this to be used for, but I think what I have in mind is the most compelling use case for the Flow. Anyways, this is, according to HTC, not a VR headset. They are marketing these as immersive glasses, designed to be ultra lightweight, portable, VR anywhere, anytime. And I get that. The Flow is far closer to a set of glasses or goggles than what we typically think of as a VR headset. And it's also, unfortunately, not nearly as capable as we'd initially think a VR headset would be. First, I want to talk about the good part of the device. The Flow is tiny. It's hatable, neckable, and apparently cuppable. And it's extremely light, only weighing 189 grams, quite a bit less than half of the weight of the Quest 2. And this is totally subjective. I'll take all the bug jokes you could throw at me, but I think it looks kind of cool no matter how you wear it. Inside the Flow is a 3.2K LCD display, so 1600 by 1600 per eye, and a much welcomed pancake lens system. And I gotta say, one of the most solid parts of the Flow is how clear things are. The near complete lack of God rays, distortion, and pupil swim due to these lenses and displays is a pleasure to look at. And I can't wait for these types of lenses to be more of a norm for VR. Plus, there are built-in diopter dials allowing you to adjust the lenses to your own eyes. The face gasket is magnetic, there's pass-through via the two cameras on the front, and the headset itself is a 6-DoF device, meaning it fully tracks in a 3D setting. And the tracking for the headset itself is pretty good, whether you're in the sun or a standard lit room. And the battery is external. Less weight on your face, cool with me. But that's not the whole story. The Flow is a really compelling device with a lot of use cases, which I'll get into soon, but there are some questionable drawbacks to this headset that make no sense to me. I'll start with a few things that probably are least impactful, at least in my testing. The Flow is powered by a Qualcomm XR1, a pretty old chip to be honest, and that just means it's not as powerful as most of the standalone VR headsets out there right now. Also, 75 Hz refresh rate, it didn't bother me while using it, but it should be known, and the field of view is listed at 100 degrees. We're not pushing any boundaries in that department. Plus, there's no IPD adjustment, but that didn't massively affect my viewing experience. Fia and I both use the Flow and have far different IPDs. Mine's at 69mm, and it wasn't a big deal. You know what was a big deal for me though? As of now, even if I had one at home, I couldn't use it. And if you have an iPhone, neither can you. Let me explain. The Flow is a standalone device with the processor in the headset. It doesn't need separate processing or anything, but what it does need is an Android phone to be used as a 3 degree of freedom controller. There's no workaround right now, and this makes absolutely no sense. I mean, I guess it does for the very specific use cases HTC has set out for the Flow, but this is a 6-DoF headset that's ultra portable, super light, and fully capable, yet I have to use an Android phone as a 3-DoF stationary controller, essentially as a clicker. You were this close, HTC, to having something out of the box that changes the very meaning of portable VR. And I feel like they shot themselves in the foot a little in terms of the versatility of this device. Now, that's not to say the experience was bad. Using a phone was intuitive. It worked well with very little latency, and the apps I tried actually utilizing a phone as a 3-DoF controller worked really well. But if this just had a couple small 6-DoF controllers in the box or even as an add-on, the Flow would probably be one of the most groundbreaking portable VR devices out there. Shoot, even cut that back a little bit. Even if it shipped with a single 3-DoF clicker, it would be understandable. Instead, the Flow, as it stands right now, is a really cool headset that 50% of people literally can't use unless you buy an Android device. And before you lose total interest in the Flow and this video because of that, just hold on for a second. This isn't to say that this will be this way forever. I asked HTC about hand tracking. I mean, that makes way more sense if you have a headset like this, but it's only something they're looking into. And if they're going down this route of using a phone as a controller, having iOS support is mandatory, and it would solve a lot of these issues. But there's a whole separate use case that I want to test, and that's PC VR and VR streaming with a place-based combiner so I could actually use controllers, but we'll hit that in a second. Now, my actual experience using it. Before I put on the Flow, I heard Android 3DOF controller and XR1, and yeah, I asked why. Then I actually used it for a few hours, and this form factor and platform make a little more sense. The Flow is not meant to be a hardcore Beat Saber or Population 1 device. Of course, I wish it could do these things, but the things it does do, it does really well. These immersive glasses are all about bringing VR into people's lives as casually as possible, and within minutes of using the Flow, I could definitely see myself using this device daily exactly as they have intended, which kind of surprised me. This is pitched to be a meditation tool, or to play light games to relax, or to sit on a plane or couch and watch a movie in VR and not have to pull out a Quest 2 or start Steam VR and don a big index. This is something that legitimately lowers the friction on a user to just enjoy simple things in VR. And I can actually wear this for hours and it's not a big deal. I do put up with wearing the Quest and Index for hours, but in terms of comfort and hassle, this is a better experience for those lightweight, simple apps and media viewing. And to people hating on this device because it's not a Quest 2 competitor, your anger is in the wrong place. If you want to be upset about something, be upset about the controller situation, because this isn't a Quest killer. This is a spiritual successor in every way to something like the Oculus Go. Yeah, this had potential to compete with the Quest, but that's not what they're going for. It's an intermediary headset, and it's really good at that. It fills a gap between no VR and VR that we have now. And its size begs the question that if you have one, why not just bring it everywhere? It fits in a cup. So I hopped into a few games and experiences like Space Slurpees and watched a short show while sitting on the couch, and sat in an app called Trip for a long time. And I got it. This thing makes sense, and it's something I'm actually excited for, having a pretty decent VR device with me at all times that isn't cumbersome. One that I could wear on a plane, at home, give demos, and I guess make a fashion statement. But here we go. The use case I am most excited for, honestly, overshadows most of this because all of those positives I just mentioned only exist because current VR headsets are big. And this isn't that. I wasn't able to test this while at the demo, but the first thought I had was to open up Viveport or whatever streaming app I possibly can, maybe virtual desktop in the future, and connect it to my PC, and combine my play spaces with Valve Index controllers so I can have this ultra-light, comfortable headset to play full-on PC VR games on. And this is where things get interesting because as a device on its own with its strengths and weaknesses, it's cool, but there's so much potential that's left on the table, and I think HTC should lean into this, make it an open platform where you can do whatever you want and help people do that. Otherwise, I do fear for the consumer sales of this device. It'll likely sell perfectly fine to businesses or to companies wanting a well-working small VR headset, but I'm not either of those, and I don't think you guys are either. So let's just go to my final thoughts of the Flow. I'm gonna be brutally harsh and honest here. The HTC Vive Flow does everything the device is meant to, and it does it well. It's small, portable, comfortable, clear, and well, it functions. It does lower the friction to enjoy those simple or lightweight and relaxing VR applications. And it's a good way to watch content in VR no matter where you are. It doesn't do much, but what it does well. However, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but the Vive Flow costs $500. Ships with no controller, requires you to have an Android phone, doesn't even come with a battery I just found out, and yeah, did I mention, it costs $500. Like I said, it does everything it's supposed to do, but what it does do is so limited, and while I can see a lot of people, including myself, enjoying something like this, it's a hard sell. And technically, something like the Quest 2 can do everything this headset can do, and far more, for cheaper. But what you're buying here isn't the most capable headset. It's, I think at least, a VR lifestyle device. This is, in full meaning, an intermediary headset. I just can't shake this feeling, though, that I wish it could do a little more. Because there is so much cool potential here, but it is what it is. And the only thing I can do, and that we can do, is take it at face value. It's not a bad device. It's a good device with extremely questionable limitations. And as a VR enthusiast, I just can't wait for when we have this form factor of headset that does everything the Quest 2 can do, because that is when things actually get interesting. And that is when VR will take a massive leap. When I look at the Flow, I see both the future and the past of VR. I'm reminded of Daydream and its limitations, and then I see this form factor and portability, and I see the future of VR. And I think this is a device caught in time. And with that, for better or worse, I'll be using it and testing it and messing with it and honestly enjoying it for what it is. But I just don't know if that value is present for most people. Yes, I better start looking for an Android phone. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked this video, maybe consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video as well. It helps a lot with everything I do here, and I appreciate it endlessly. Till next time, much love, Thrill out.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the
ThrillSeeker show.
Hey.